Hello and welcome to the show with me, Gillian Godsill. Today my guest is Miroslav Polzer, who is, amongst many things, a founder of the IAAI, which is the International Association of Advancement of Innovation, approaches to global challenges and everything else in between. So actually, Miro, I'm doing you a disservice. You have so many different involvements and titles. Perhaps you'd like to explain about some of the most important ones that you're working with.
Yeah, so IAAI is my main institutional vehicle. It's an entrepreneurial civil society organization based in Austria, and we are accredited to the United Nations through the Economic and Social Council, Department for Global Communication, the UN Climate Change Process, UNFCC, and the Green Climate Fund, the biggest international public climate finance mechanism of the UN system of global community. And so already the name, International Association for the Advancement of Innovative Approaches to Global Challenges, is already a mission statement. And somehow our message is that global challenges are big. They are partially already, we are in crisis mode, but these global challenges, they create all of humanity into a global community, because all of us are affected, but we as global community, we don't function in our response. It's
So we don't
are ineffective
as a global community in our response.
Excuse me?
We have to. I beg your pardon. Did you say we don't currently function as a global community?
We don't function.
Okay.
And so we need to improve our response mechanism. For instance, in the field of climate change, we know it is a problem, but still emissions are going up as if there would be no response mechanism. And so we have to look how we create the institutional framework, the economic framework, societal, cultural framework, that we will respond more effectively and create a climate safe future for us and our children. And for this, we are now the problem that we have here is that the world is primarily organized in nation states, and the nation states have created for them the United Nations organization. And it's an intergovernmental process, and the non-state actors, they are not part of the DNA of the UN system. And that's the problem, because nowadays the problems that we see, the global challenges, climate change and the resource depletion, biodiversity loss, it's based a result of everyone taking action. If I'm in a shop with my consumption decision, or with my mobility decision, with my investment decision, with my voting decision, I am driving climate change. And if there is not a mechanism which captures and documents our activities, captures the value of positive action, provides incentive mechanisms, then we are not getting to equilibrium or life and society which can exist within planetary boundaries. And so IAAI is now working on setting up an ecosystem, multi-stakeholder partnership, it's called often in the UN speech, or sometimes we are calling it a consortium or just ecosystem. And so this is GLOCHA, the Global Challenges Action Network. And it builds on culture, technology, and organizational innovation to get everyone engaged and empowered to take meaningful and rewarding action for the local and global public good, aligned with the goals and programs of the United Nations system.
So you're combining the GLOCHA brings down, and it's like a meeting in the middle. So it's top down and bottom up at the same time. It's not just
exactly, yeah.
And not
multi-level governance, connecting local action and the individual with the global goals attainment mechanism, which is still led by the UN system, because the UN system is the only player globally who has a mandate of humanity, of all the nations. So it's a good starting point, but it needs to be complemented, and we aim, and we are convinced that we are the leaders in building the complementary system. And at the United Nations conference, COP26 in Glasgow in November, we have announced the formation of a United Citizens Organization for Action for Climate Empowerment as a blockchain-based structure, which will connect and empower and mobilize resources for enhanced climate action of all of society.
Two things I want to tease out there. First of all, the climate, your awareness about the climate. And then I also want to talk about blockchain, these two things coming together, this coalition. Climate, when did you first become aware of it, and why did you know you had to do something about it personally?
Yeah, so I'm quite long already on this planet. And when I was around 16, 17 years, around 84, the report of the Club of Rome came out about the planetary boundaries. And I've got from my teacher the assignment that I should report about the book to my classmates. And I did so, and for me, this was very compelling. It was so logic and clear that we need to react to this problem of planetary boundaries and resource depletion. And since then, I have worked in this field, or had it always on my mind that that's a determinant of our existence, that we need to be aware of the limits of our ecosystems. And then I've been 16 years head of the Austrian Research Liaison Office on behalf of Austrian Ministry for Science and Research. I've worked in promoting international scientific cooperation between Austria, Slovenia, and the West Balkan countries. And there it was also clear, my focus was on these topics. And I thought if we work cross-border internationally, these are the topics we have to address, otherwise everything else is meaningless.
And when did you found the IAAI?
Yeah, so I founded it in March 2007, because I had the vision and idea that we could organize competitions. So it was formed on the fringes of a Foresight conference, so about envisioning desirable futures. And we thought we could organize a competition among these Foresight people and youth, and then those best pathways towards a desirable future would be awarded, and there would be a research and training center then as an award. And the aim was the plan was to get philanthropic funding primarily for it. But there were many illusions that we had on our pathway, but yeah,
you wield a lot of power now. I mean, the IAAI is very powerful now. You're connected in the UN. You have a lot of partnerships going on. So you're a powerhouse at the moment.
Yes, I would say so. Yeah, I really think that we are thematic leaders as regards UN system innovation for non-party stakeholder. Because, of course, there are very powerful institutions and organizations outside the UN system, but as long as they don't connect, they will never function with the global public space. And we have invested a lot of energy and time into understanding the UNFCC system and identifying the interfaces, those governance spaces in which innovation is possible and where non-party stakeholders, non-state actors can be included so that they become part of this governance space and help to broaden it so that we have really a functioning global governance mechanism. And especially in the blockchain community.
Exactly, that's the question I'm coming on to now. So how come blockchain? How did that get into the picture?
Yeah, so as I said, we were dreaming of these millions and billions from philanthropists like Giving Pledge, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. They have promised half of their wealth will be given back to society before they die. And then this was at the beginning. So we thought we will certainly with this big global challenge, with our connection to the UN, with science-based solutions. We will get the money and then we will do the things. Now this Giving Pledges a group of already more than 200 signatories. They have a combined wealth of more than 1 trillion. But in the end, the money is not flowing, and many of them are only getting richer and not half poorer. But one point when we've presented this our plan, and we've had at the UN Climate Change Conference COP22 2016 in Marrakesh, the formally from the presidency approved initiative, we said, give youth a chance, call for resources for youth climate action. And there we said, please give us 100 million euros, because young people are so desperately motivated and wanting to contribute, but they need resources to be empowered. And those who have resources, they should give us. And then the question was, if we give you 100 million, how will it be distributed? How we will,
a lot of money.
A lot of money, and yeah. And then that time, 2016, we learned about blockchain, and we've seen that this is the enabling technology to create Agenda 2030 social entrepreneurship marketplaces, capturing the value of certain activities as contributions to the SDGs, and that around this can be created a market. And then we found ways to connect with others around the globe who were active in these fields. And in 2017, we've been founding members of the Climate Chain Coalition, which emerged from an initiative of the blockchain community and the UN Climate Change Secretariat, who all said that this is so high potential, but we need multi-stakeholder platforms and mechanisms to identify good solutions, to have quality assurance, to work on standards, regulation, and so. And so there was my entry point, and I'm now strategic director of the Climate Change Coalition, helping these topics. And I'm still convinced that this is a wonderful enabler of multi-stakeholder climate action empowerment. And yeah.
So when did you discover NFTs then?
NFTs I have discovered relatively late. We have had already in the Climate Change Coalition people who were looking into NFTs for internationally transferable mitigation outcomes, so carbon credits, mechanism that they could be identified as NFTs and then traded, and having global registries, avoiding double counting and so. But at that time, it didn't resonate so much. It resonated then with me very much when the Austrian post authorities, I think it's 2 years ago, they have issued a crypto stamp. And it was really very nice. It's a conventional stamp, and it had a digital twin. So one could get it, buy it, scan the wallet address, and there was the private key to transfer it to the digital wallet. And when I've seen this, then this resonated so very much. It was aesthetical. It was something one can own, visible and digital. And then we came to the conclusion that we could, around this NFT technology, create individual climate action dashboard app, so that we would create a mechanism to identify contributions to local and global climate action, mint it, and then people could have on their app, on their wallet, really their whole lifetime legacy about what they have done for the climate. And with these crypto stamps, also, it's this that people can track their money, and we can give decision-making opportunities that people can co-decide which projects or which digital communities wallets this money is going to. So this is really transformative, and it enables new types of local and global social contracts, DAOs, everything. It's a universe of opportunities, and it's really very inspiring here.
And I know that you hold quite strong views on the early and most prominent minting platform will be Ethereum. Do you want to tell me why you don't like Ethereum minting?
Yeah, so I would not say that I don't like Ethereum minting, because also the first crypto stamps were on Ethereum. And so it was good to have Bitcoin and Ethereum as the first generation of the blockchain. But nowadays that these platforms are consuming the same electricity like countries, middle income countries like Switzerland or Finland, that's unacceptable, because it is a waste of resources. The added value of this proof of work mechanism is not existent. And the only thing that I'm really very critical regarding Ethereum is that they are promising to release the Ethereum 2.0, and people are believing it. And it's a nice excuse for everybody who is in Ethereum to say, oh, they are working on it. But meanwhile, it's another year with megatons of emissions. And so I was just recently thinking, if Ethereum would really be, no, and they are telling this since 5 years. Since I'm in this space, they are talking about transitioning to this Ethereum 2.0, and that it takes only 3 to 6 months. And just now, I've again read an article. It says in 1 or 2 quarters it will be published. So I would say, if the community is convinced and trusts itself, then they should introduce a mechanism that they pay a penalty for each month that they are delaying it. So if they believe themselves, because one thing that I'm sometimes also saying, it's like alcohol addict person, and it's a relationship of the users of Ethereum. So this alcohol addict person always says, yes, I will tomorrow or next week I will finish, and the partner says, okay, he says we will finish, and then till the end of the life, it's this bad relationship continues. So this has to end. It's really unacceptable. These are planetary heaters that should be switched off, because we have a very small carbon budget and we are wasting it.
So in your seeking for better solutions, that's when you came across the Polkadot Network and Unique. So how did that come about?
Yeah, so I've in the Climate Change Coalition already colleagues who work on digital bonds for sustainability, for climate infrastructure and the like, and they are already using Polkadot, so it's EverCity, and I've spoken with them because they are really very competent. They've had also the IPC Integrated Platform for Climate Initiatives DAO, one of the first DAOs in this field, and they've had been the ones of the first that made carbon credit transaction on the blockchain. And so I've asked what blockchain I should use, and they said they think that if one really wants a solution that is not then siloed somehow, but that it's interoperable and low carbon footprint, then Polkadot is a very good option. And then in May last year, I've watched a webinar on blockchains, a German blockchain broadcaster with Irina Karagiao, the head of metaverse development at Unique Network, and she presented their plans for an NFT platform. It resonated very well as regards technology, but also in terms of personality. I thought that really this is a very kind person and team. So we've connected and we've had really very fruitful, really very nice cooperation, and we've been together at in Milan when there was the youth event of the Italian COP26 co-presidency, and we've been together in Glasgow. We're going then soon to Dubai for the Middle East and North Africa Regional Climate Week together. They've invested resources, their staff, even financial resources. So it's a wonderful partnership so far.
And that the partnership led to the UN giving you the Digital Art for Climate project and the competition, which culminated in COP26.
No, they didn't give it to us. It was our idea.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Okay. I'm sorry, you gave it to them. You brought it. And then Unique partnered with you to provide the technology. Yeah. Okay. And that was pretty impressive. You had a lot of entrants from young people all around the world.
Yes. This resonates very well. And it's really powerful, the transformative power of art. This helps very much to get out of old thinking patterns, because if we want to really get on a climate neutrality pathway, then there will be so many changes needed. And art helps inspire, and also efforts in this field of youth empowerment for climate action, they require financial resources, and people don't give money for, if you ask them for a systemic solution for climate action. If we ask for our Glotcha system, people don't give money for this, but they are ready to give money to art. And so we create, on the one hand, this inspiration, social energy generator with Digital Art for Climate. And on the other hand, we create a mechanism for mobilization of financial resources, minting this artwork from Digital Art for Climate, putting it on a marketplace, and then giving the artists a fair share of the revenues, and also on youth climate action pool, fund, and marketplace, and part of it also supporting our work on Glotcha.
Wow. So what's going forward? What are the plans for the Digital Art for Climate? Are there exhibitions coming up, more competitions?
Yes, there are many opportunities there. So perhaps back, as you said, the UN gave us the initiative. It was a UN associated initiative because we have partnered with UN Habitat. UN Habitat is the UN program for cities and settlements. And they have a strong youth program, and Doug Reagan is leading this program. And with Doug, we are collaborating since many years already. And therefore, he also trusted us that we can use this initiative, work on this initiative together to mobilize funding for their work with youth in Nairobi in this informal settlement. And there was an entry from this youth which received the Special Recognition Award. And it's also, he said he would like to connect those artists in informal settlements with global resources, making a mechanism that they can be found, that they can be seen, and that there could be financial resources channeled to these artists. And this we've done, and really Digital Art for Climate got a lot of attention also from other UN organizations, also UN Environment, and their World Environment Situational Room program for youth engagement. They are also now partnering with us. And once we will have our auction and sales of these NFTs, they will also be one of the programs that we want to support with the revenues.
It's a very powerful combination, isn't it? The climate, climate imperative, youth, and culture, art. Do you think, will you include, it's currently art and sculpture, will you include like writing and spoken word, poetry? Will you extend it out further in culture, dance?
We don't know, but dance, we've had already some conversations with Vandana from We Speak Dance. She was also in Glasgow, and then also for one day at on our delegation in the UK COP26 pavilion. We had a presentation, and she said she would also like to have these Dancing for the Planet videos minted, and then that we use together our platform, the Blend Digital Art for Climate Marketplace, to monetize this. And it's open, it's totally flexible, and we certainly have the plan to have also music included, because we've worked already. We have an initiative called Global Youth Music Contest, which was very successful already. 2012 was the first round, and another one in 2015 in the context of the climate conference COP21 in Paris. So poetry would certainly be also nice. We have now to really consolidate ourselves, getting the marketplace and our app, so to say, running up and running, and having a stronger resource base then, and then certainly we will consider.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how technology like blockchain and NFTs and marketplaces can bring all these things together, you know, give it a global, no, it's a very impressive project. Thank you so much for your time today. We were watching this space, watching these marketplaces. I can't wait to hear the poetry, the dance, all these things coming through, because you're using culture, as you say, you can fund it and you can inspire young people much more so than saying, oh, in the distance, the planet might be suffering. You link it with real things people want to do. So very, very impressive approach. Thank you so much for your time today, Miro.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me, Gillian. Have a great day.
Thank you.